welcome back to Homestead Corner. Today I'd like to talk about 20 everyday items that we should be stocking up on for SHTF. We have these everyday items that we use all the time and we really don't think about them in SHTF situations. But if we look at them and think about other ways that we can use them, these items are going to be super useful in the event of a disaster, SHTF, any type of emergency. You're going to want to have these things on hand. And if you don't have enough, you're definitely going to be upset about it. These are everyday items, but they are definitely excellent to have a good supply of in the event of an emergency or disaster, anything like that. The first thing I have is salt. Salt is one of those things. You can use it for cooking. You are going to need it, especially iodized salt. If you're not able to get food from the store and you're cooking everything at home, you're going to want to make sure that you have iodized salt on hand so we're getting the right nutrients in our body. So iodized salt is definitely a big one. You can also do all sorts of stuff with it. You need it for lots of food preparation and things like that, and it is great flavoring. Salt is one of those things we really want to have on hand. The second thing is hard candies, chocolates, things like that. In a long-term situation especially, things get hard. Having something to boost your morale is definitely going to be good. You're going to want those things. And just that little piece of normalcy is going to help you get through some days that are really difficult to deal with. So I think those are really important, those little pieces of normalcy. Number 3, instant coffee and tea. A lot of people drink instant coffee every day, but there are a lot of people that use ground coffee, and sometimes we overlook the importance of having some instant coffee on hand for those times when we can't get it. And right now, ground coffee is so expensive at the grocery store and the price just keeps climbing. And it's one of those things they expect to get more expensive this year. So having a good supply of instant coffees and teas to give you that caffeine boost, you're going to need more energy in the event of an emergency. You may have to do a lot more work than you're used to. Number 4, bleach. You want to have a good supply of bleach on hand. Now, you don't want to have more than you would normally use in 6 months, really, because bleach does go bad. It loses its potency. If you put bleach in your water to kill bacteria and things like that, you just use a few drops in a gallon of water. But when you do that, just leaving your water out sitting, it evaporates the bleach out of the water. So that tells us that bleach is not going to last. The potency from it is going to go, but you don't want the scented bleaches or your those thicker no splash ones. Those are not going to be any good for cleaning up your water if you have to use it. So making sure you have at least a couple of gallons of good, solid, regular plain bleach is really important for cleaning, for your water, for all kinds of stuff. You can use bleach for quite a few. Number 5, I think everybody probably already has lots of this on hand, but first aid supplies, Neosporin, don't forget those little things. Those are really important to make sure that we can handle things. Sometimes, even now, it's getting harder and harder to get into the doctors. I know people are calling trying to get appointments and it is months wait. That is awful. So making sure we have the little things to take care of everyday stuff is going to be really important. And the next thing, number 6, is over-the-counter medicines. We want to make sure we have a good supply of those. We're seeing shortages in some areas, hard to find some of the items. We want to make sure we have plenty on hand, so if something happens and we need them, we have them. Number 7, hand sanitizer. Hand sanitizer is wonderful, especially in a grid down situation when you're trying to conserve water. Your hands may look clean, but you just, if you're going to eat or anything like that, you want to make sure your hands are clean. You're not getting any kind of sickness or anything like that. In a grid down situation or a long-term disaster, any of those things, it can be extremely difficult to get to the doctor. So we want to stay clean and healthy as possible. And number 8 is chapstick. Chapstick is more than just putting on your dry chapped lips. You can use it for so many things. If your skin is dry on your hands, your face, if you're going to be out in the cold weather, in the wind, it can really protect your skin. So chapstick is one of those things that we like to keep tons of it on hand. You can use it for tons of stuff. And it's really a good item. And there's usually only a handful of ingredients. It's super easy to make also. If you have the stuff, it's really easy to Number 9, your oral hygiene stuff. Toothbrush, toothpaste, floss. You want to make sure you have that. Toothaches can be nightmares. So we want to make sure we're keeping our teeth clean and have our gums, everything healthy. And so we don't need the doctors. And, we really want to make sure on that. And floss is another multi-use item. If you have like an outside jacket, waterproof jacket, and you get a tear in it, floss can withstand the water because it's wax. It makes a wonderful thread to fix things that are out exposed to the elements. And number 10, everybody's got this, I'm sure, and you should have a decent amount, is toilet paper. And if you're not using toilet paper and you're using your reusable family cloths, I think they call them, or reusable wipes of whatever, those, you want to make sure you have a decent supply of them, because if you can't get it from the store, you'll be super happy that you have a good supply, definitely. That's one of those things that you don't know what you got till it's gone. You're really going to want that. And also, along with the toilet paper is Kleenex. That's another one of those things, and can be used for toilet paper also as well. And number 11, wipes, wet wipes, baby wipes, anything like that. In a grid down situation, any kind of disaster, when you're conserving water, and again, those wipes are wonderful to clean up real fast your hands. If you can't get into the bath, they definitely will help. I would want to be jumping in the river or something. You want to get clean, but those are definitely going to help. You want to have those on hand. And also, along with those baby wipes, bar soap. Bar soap lasts and lasts and lasts, and it is wonderful, and it takes up very little space compared to your liquid soaps. So having a good supply of bar soap is also a really good idea. And number 12, feminine hygiene. Not everybody needs it, but when you do, you're going to wish you had it. Those things, and pads can be used for big wounds and things like that. They hold a lot of blood. So making sure you have a few tucked into your first aid kits and around wherever you need them. You want to make sure you have a decent supply. If you have younger girls, long-term emergencies, in case of a collapse or something like that, they could grow up. This could take years to get through something like that. So making sure you've got something for them as they get older is important to have on hand. And number 13, lighters. Lighters are really inexpensive, and you can get big packs of them. I buy like a 6-pack or a 7-pack at Walmart, the Scripto lighters for $2.97. And those are wonderful to have on hand. I love matches also, but I think lighters are by far the easiest thing to light a fire with. And fire is one of the most important things that we're going to need. And number 14, propane bottles. We want to make sure if you are dependent on any kind of propane stuff, if you've got little propane like camp stoves or heaters, anything like that, you want to make sure you have a good supply that's going to last you until you can figure out what's next. Sometimes the emergency supplies that we plan on are for shorter term emergencies. And if it turns into a long-term emergency, we're going to have to figure out, what am I going to do after this? Because if you are dependent on propane, one of those little buddy heaters or a Dynaglow, whatever you have, if you're dependent on that and you have those propane tanks, they're wonderful and you're going to want to have a good supply, but they're not going to last forever. You're going to have to start thinking about what's next. What am I going to do when I run out of propane? Because long-term emergencies can really change things from short-term emergencies. Number 15, batteries. We want to have a good supply of batteries. Rechargeable batteries if you can. If you have a small generator, it does not take a whole lot of energy to recharge those batteries. If you've got rechargeables, they are wonderful. If you don't have rechargeables, they are quite substantially more, but they're going to last you a lot longer because you can keep recharging them. But just regular batteries, having a good, decent supply on hand. Some people forget that they're going to need a lot of batteries if the grid goes down. And number 16, contractor bags. Those things are huge and they're really thick, so they're really heavy duty. They can be used in all kinds of situations for covering up windows, covering up doors. You can use them for ponchos. You can lug water in them. You can set up a water collection with it. There's just so many different things you can do with the contractor bags, and they're nice and thick usually. You want to get the really good quality thick ones. I keep a couple of packages of those just in case we need them, because they're just so useful for so many things. And also trash bags are great. They're not as big and they're not as strong usually as the contractor bags, but you're going to want to have both. And number 17, duct tape. I mean, you can fix all kinds of stuff with duct tape. I love duct tape. I usually get the Gorilla stuff. I have some from the dollar store and that works pretty good too. But that Gorilla stuff, oh, it's worth a couple extra dollars. It's really strong. It's hard to get off actually once you use it. So we like to keep a good supply of duct tape for anything that we need. We have all kinds of stuff happen and we just grab duct tape. And number 18, zip ties. Zip ties can be super handy to organize things together, to hold things together. I've seen people use zip ties to, fix a broken button on their pants and all kinds of stuff. You could, fix tons of things with zip ties, and they are wonderful to have. And number 19, and this one a lot of people don't think of, and it is shoelaces. Shoelaces are really important. If you break a shoelace, you're out of commission. It's hard to walk around with your shoes flopping all over the place. You want good sturdy shoelaces, and having extra pairs is great in case you break one. And again, they can be used as small pieces of rope for all sorts of projects. And number 20, I think they are so, so important, is socks. Having a good supply of socks. Can you imagine having to work outside on your feet all day and not having socks? I mean, that has got to be so uncomfortable. Socks are a nice, warm, dry pair of socks can fix a lot of things when you are in an emergency and struggling to get things done. I know we have been doing projects outside in the winter time before, and when your feet get wet and cold, just coming in, warming them up and putting on some clean, dry socks, it really makes a difference. It helps boost your morale. It's going to help your feet. It's going to help everything, really. I love socks, and I think they should be you should have tons of them in, extras for everything. And that's it for my 20 everyday items that I think we should stock up on. I think these items will become really valuable in a long-term situation, any type of emergency, really. They are going to be handy. And if we didn't have any of these items, I would be quite upset if I was missing them. They're things that we depend on every day, and sometimes we kind of overlook the importance of them. So that's it for today. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye.